Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I gotta tell you, I am absolutely pumped to guide you through today's topic because we are gonna completely rewire the way you look at the world around you. We're setting off on this really immersive journey into a seemingly chaotic, everyday street scene. But our goal here isn't just to gawk at the mess. Our goal is to learn how to actually see the invisible systems running our world. We're going to combine the analytical mechanics of Marcus P. Dawson's systems thinking with the visionary, ecologically conscious frameworks of the Adams School of AERTS. So get ready, because you are literally about to see the hidden machinery of everyday life. All right, do me a favor, just close your eyes for a quick second and picture this. It's 4:47 p.m. on a Thursday. You are standing on a cracked concrete sidewalk at the intersection of Market Road and 4th Street in a dense semi-urban district. Drop yourself right onto that pavement. Imagine you can smell the heavy, acrid exhaust of diesel engines. You can hear the overlapping, booming bass of reggae music from a passing car, and it's totally battling with the echoing call to prayer from nearby mosque loudspeakers. You are right in the thick of it. Okay, open your eyes and look at the absolute pure chaos of this single moment. 8 motorcycles are weaving recklessly between idling cars. A massive bus is just belching black smoke into the humid air. Over on the corner, a street vendor is frying plantains over a clogged storm drain. People are buzzing on their phones, a power transformer is humming aggressively overhead, and then the traffic light turns green. But no one moves. The intersection is completely 100% paralyzed. So what is actually happening here? Well, let's dive into it. Most of us look at that street corner using what's called linear thinking. We just see isolated objects, right? We see a car, a street vendor, a broken bench. But to truly understand why that intersection is gridlocked, we need a major paradigm shift. We need systems thinking. We are no longer looking at isolated objects. We are looking at the dynamic systems they represent. That car, it becomes part of traffic flow. The vendor isn't just a person anymore, they represent the informal economy. And that broken bench, that's a sign of community resilience or maybe infrastructural decay. We're moving from the individual parts to the whole shebang. To kind of anchor ourselves here, let's look at how Marcus P. Dawson defines this. A system is the holistic sum of the interdependent parts which interact with one another to a specific purpose. The absolutely crucial point here is that interaction and interdependence. Without those two things, you just have a loose collection of parts. It's not a system. Like a bunch of car parts sitting on a garage floor, that isn't a transportation system until they are put together and interacting to move you forward. You know, what's really cool is how this new mindset is visualized. Notice the brain wearing those 3D glasses. We are effectively swapping out our regular eyes for systems glasses. As Dawson points out, we're reframing our perspective. We aren't just looking at a broken machine anymore, we're looking at a damaged system. We are becoming totally cognizant of how all these little cogs work together, or, in our case, fail to work together, to build the bigger picture. Section 1. The lenses. The Adams School of ARTS. To help us decode our paralyzed street corner, we are going to borrow a fascinating set of lenses from the Adams School of AERTS. This is an institution that's dedicated to cultivating what they call transdisciplinary creative intelligence. Basically, it's a philosophy that empowers us to use technology, art, and ecological consciousness to evaluate and heal the systems governing our world. They use 5 core pillars to do this. Let's run through them really quickly. Symbiotic creativity, regenerative practice, cognitive pluralism, digital global citizenship, and futures literacy. Now, these aren't just stuffy academic terms. These are highly practical frameworks. They let us evaluate the technological and ecological consciousness of our environment. They help us see exactly why certain human behaviors and structures are forming right there on our street corner. Let's actually connect these pillars directly back to the scene we observed. Remember that street vendor frying plantains? If a customer pays him using a QR code on a smartphone, we aren't just seeing a simple transaction. Looking through the ARTS lens, we're seeing a physical manifestation of digital global citizenship. It's a localized microeconomy instantly connecting to a borderless digital network. And what about that clogged storm drain the vendor is standing over? Well, that is a glaring failure of regenerative practice. The ecological footprint of the street has broken down, completely failing to restore or maintain the environmental system. So the ARTS lenses help us identify the nature of these systems. Now let's transition back to Dawson for a second to understand the mechanics. Dawson explains that systems are driven by feedback loops. There are reinforcing loops, which basically act like an amplifier, driving extreme growth or extreme decline. Then there are balancing loops, which are super goal-oriented and try to maintain equilibrium, kind of like the thermostat in your house.
And crucially, there are delays. These are inevitable gaps in time that very often cause systems to become wildly unstable. These invisible forces, they are what's driving the interactions we just saw.
Which brings us right back to our paralyzed intersection, and I want to ask you this crucial question directly. The traffic light turns green. Why doesn't anyone move? We know there are objects in the way, sure, but mechanically, systemically, why has this environment completely gridlocked? To answer that, we got to look way below the surface. To really figure it out, we're going to use Dawson's famous iceberg model. At the very top, visible right above the water, is the event. That's the gridlock we're staring at right now. Just below the surface is the pattern. You know, the fact that this happens every single day at 4:47 p.m. Deeper down is the structure. This is the lack of dedicated lanes, the informal street use by vendors, the actual physical infrastructure design. But at the very, very bottom, the thing generating this whole mess is the mental model. This is the psychological belief held by every single driver and pedestrian that their own individual expediency is way more important than the collective flow. And this just brilliantly illustrates how those hidden loops make things worse. Dawson writes, delays cause flimsiness in systems, and vigorous activity to make up for delays will probably cause organizations to overshoot or undershoot. Picture a delivery driver stuck in that intersection, frantically checking a routing app on his phone. The delay in the app's digital system causes panic and impatience in his mental model. So what does he do? He vigorously swerves his motorcycle into oncoming traffic to save a few seconds. And that single frantic action feeds right back into the physical structure of the jam, ironically reinforcing the exact delay he was trying so hard to escape. Section 2. Your turn. The Systems Challenge. So we've given you the Aird's lenses to see the technological and ecological reality. And we've got Dawson's mechanics to see the structural loops. Now I'm shifting the focus directly onto you. It is your turn to be an active participant here. Here are your instructions. Do not analyze right away. Just observe. Look at our street corner scene again. Can you list 10 distinct systems operating in this single moment? Remember, a system is any set of interconnected elements organized toward a purpose. It can be visible or invisible, human or mechanical, formal or informal. You have to go beyond the objects. A car is an object. Traffic flow is a system. A vendor is a person. The informal economy is a system. Try to identify these systems using those Adams School of Aird's pillars. Where do you see symbiotic creativity, or maybe a lack of regenerative practice? Consider how technology and ecological consciousness are shaping the interactions you're observing. And finally, identify the feedback loops and balancing mechanisms that are driving the gridlock you see. I strongly urge you to look past the objects and find those invisible webs of purpose functioning right now, because I just have to ask, once you start seeing the world in systems, will you ever be able to look at a simple street corner the exact same way again? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy observing.